Tell me something. What do you know about Wakanda? It's a third world country. Textiles, shepherds, cool outfits, all a front. Explorers have searched for it. Called it El Dorado. They looked for it in South America. But it was in Africa the whole time. I'm the only one who's seen it and made it out alive. I can see you.
The world is changing. Soon, there will only be the conquered and the conquerors.
Step into the spotlight.
You are a good man.
Step into the spotlight.
With a good heart. And it's hard for a good man to be a king.
Into the spotlight is right. Welcome to Earth 2 Comic Cast, ladies and gentlemen. We are back on another episode of Three Dudes Rant. Myself, Anthony, and Dr. Kyle. My name- oh, welcome. It's been a while, but we're glad to be back. And as you saw from that awesome trailer, wait, before I get into today's episode, make sure to like and subscribe. And if you do listen on the podcast, make sure to subscribe to the podcast as well. We are going to be putting out a lot of content at the fourth quarter of the year because we have all our shows are going to be coming down the pipe right now. Discovery's coming back, so I'm back to do that myself. What's the other one? The Amazon show is coming out. Myself and Roy are going to be coming out doing that. What's it called? Give me a remember.
Wheel of Time? Are you talking about Wheel of Time?
Yeah, Wheel of Time.
I've been waiting for the Wheel of Time. I can't wait for this thing.
So we had passes to see it today, but it's so packed that they turned a couple people away. I didn't go see it because I had show commitments.
They turn away all the black people.
So we have that, and Cowboy Bebop live action is coming, so we have to do that.
I've seen the first 5 of those episodes or 6 of those episodes.
How is it? Because
from JVS. Okay.
So
Just go ahead and say no.
Nah, I mean there wasn't a good episode until episode 5, maybe, where I thought it was like there's. I mean, we can get into it. I don't know much time.
We'll get into it at the end of the show. So we have that coming that we have to do. Hey, dog, get over there. All right. We have that coming that we have to do. We have Arcane League of Legends that we have to finish this weekend. And so
finish that. I mean, I'm sorry. I saw I'm just gonna let you talk. And then
so you're caught up. Are you finished?
I'm not finished. I mean, I'm just saying I love that show.
Thank you. So so we have to get on that. We have to drop episodes for that. So we have a lot of stuff coming. So be sure to like, subscribe, hit the bell to let you know what's coming. So today's episode, 5 stars. Today's episode was inspired by this video I saw. I'm so ill prepared for show that I don't have the video queued up. But in essence, I think Van Lathan, I think that's his name from TMZ, he had asked one of the producers or one of the dudes at Marvel. He's like, "Hey, so what's going on with Chadwick? So are you guys joining the hard line on not recasting?" And he turns, the guy goes, "Hey, we're not gonna recast. We've talked to we don't we didn't know what to do with the whole process. Excuse me. So we went and talked to Ryan Coogler, and Ryan is reveres the actor and doesn't want to recast the movie. To which I looked at it and I was like, this is bullshit. It's 100% bullshit. And so I think the reason I said we should talk about this is because on the internet is kind of split about this.
Mm-hmm.
There's a half of the internet that says, fuck it. It's Black Panther, not Chadwick Panther. So recast, RIP. Another half is saying it's Chadwick's role. And, because he did such a great job, or because we're so connected with Chadwick, we can't, you just can't recast. Now, I feel like I've been doing a lot of talking, so I'm gonna let the guys go first. What do you guys think? Because, or what side of the argument do either of you line up on?
So, and you go first because I know what I'm going to say. It might be considered controversial.
So this character has been around since the '60s, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It's '60s. The two guys that created him are gone. Can anybody ever write him again? Heath Ledger was probably one of the. Well, no, Jack Nicholson, great Joker. There'll never be another Joker. Heath Ledger. Joaquin Phoenix. Just because someone does it. Christopher Reeves was the Superman, right? And everybody after him has been compared to him, and that's fine. Sean Connery was James Bond, right? And every James Bond is compared to him. Whatever Doctor Who you go into is your doctor, and every doctor after that or before that is compared to him. I think people are reacting instead of responding. You can honor somebody. You can honor somebody, honor the contribution. A good example to me is everybody watched the Starz show Spartacus.
I watched a couple episodes of it.
I watched the entire thing, and you are very right. After first season, I thought this show was done because of what was going on.
So if nobody knows, sorry, I'm interrupting.
No, good.
So if nobody understands, the first season of Spartacus, we had first 2 episodes of Spartacus, maybe 3 are rough, but after that, the show gets really good and it's really intense. And the guy that plays Spartacus is spot on, like his charisma and how he brings to the role. Everybody's good in the show, including the guy from the Mummy movies, the Bardianis.
Yeah, that plays
and Xena's in it. Very 90s kid. But the main actor got cancer. Like he was diagnosed with cancer at some point.
I think his name was Andy Whitfield.
I think that's right. And so then he got a diagnosis that he was improving. So what they did was, this is something I've never heard of before. They did a prequel season for the second season. So it took place like before the first season to give him time to recuperate and bring him back. Because they wanted they had a plan for him as Spartacus. They had a plan to where they was going to end the show. Unfortunately, his cancer came back. So they brought another character guy in. I think he died before the third season started, or died during when the third season started. But
he died in the actual Spartacus season 2. He died before it started because they'd filmed it, got his blessings, filmed it, and then I think at the end of when they showed,
he died in the real season 3. Like he died during the real when they recast him. Yes, they recast him another guy, and it was jarring. It was a little jarring in the first couple episodes because yeah. But the guy wasn't bad. It was just that it wasn't his initial role, right?
Weather Wizard from The Flash.
Yeah, and he was great. He was everybody in the show was great, and they continued on the season. And because they paused for so long to give them that season, they lost some of the other characters too, so they replaced them. But the show still stayed great. At the very last line of the show, they replaced the original Spartacus with they replaced the new guy with the original Spartacus to show tribute. You can show tribute. You can give honors. You can like Mike Tyson and you can revere Muhammad Ali. You know what I mean? You can do all these things. You can chew gum and walk. I think this is more PR than anything else, and I think that they're being very careful around the quote unquote first black superhero, even though we know that's not the case. Um, uh, and I know I'm talking for a long time. I'm about to finish up. And I think that you can do both of these things and still honor Chadwick, still appreciate him, and then see what else brings the role because presumably we're going to get a new Thor at some point. Presumably we're going to get a new Captain America. We've already had how many Spider-Men? Like you could continue these roles and these stories for the next 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 decades and just change out the actor and still revere what happened before. That's all
Yeah,
I got.
I completely agree. Mind you, Black Panther's intertwined in so much lore in the comic book universe. So to say, yeah, we're going to sidestep all this story, and there's a lot of story that he's intertwined with, and the way how the writing is going right now in the movies, they're going those directions with those stories that he's heavily involved in, and say, no, we're going to sidestep it all together. It's weird. You're bringing in Fantastic Four, and you're doing a whole rollout about this, and now you're like, yeah, no, we're not going to have Black Panther. Eventually, that Doom War is going to happen. You know what I mean? Like that's going to be weird. And also, Disney knew. Let's not turn a blind eye to this. Disney knew about Chadwick's health, and the reason why I know this for a fact, when they did the D23, when they did the rollout of the movies that was coming out and the Disney Plus shows that they were going to roll out, there was a huge outcry about why is Black Panther 2 not listed or why is it so far out, right? Especially after Black Panther made over $1 billion in the box office, right? So it's like, why? Why is this not even something that's not even in the works? Well, you mentioned Thor: Love and Thunder. You mentioned Ant-Man: Quantumania. You mentioned all these movies, but you don't mention your $1 billion baby. Like, obviously, Disney knew that Chadwick's health was on a downward decline. They did him a public courtesy by not putting his health out there, which he was very private about. But they knew beforehand, which is why they pushed it back. Which is why one
And
thing Ryan Coogler did was walk on the stage.
and every star of a movie or a franchise gets a full physical before the movie even starts. So stars like you have to get a because the studio's investing a lot of money in you.
Yeah.
So there's no way, and they tried to act like they didn't know, but they did, and they had to know. I know the plans are for Shuri to be the new Black Panther, and I think Ironheart's going to be in the next one. I have no problem with Shuri, except for what I saw in Black Panther 1 is not a character I want to follow through a whole movie or a whole franchise.
But not
Now,
just that. What's her name? Letitia, uh, the actor that plays
Letitia,
Shuri,
right?
Letitia Wright. There's something going on with the studio and her. And the reason why I say that is all this back and forth with her talking about the COVID vaccinations and
um,
everything going on behind the scenes. There's something going on back there. I don't know what's going on. I don't know how true it is, but she's messing up the bag. I hate to say that she came into a golden opportunity, but this is legit a golden opportunity for her to step into stardom. Like the star of the series passed away, sadly. You have the chance to take up the title role, and there's actual canon stories where you actually take up the title role. So you know what I mean? So it's perfect for you. This is perfect timing. And then you decide to be toxic. Something doesn't seem right.
I agree with Ant, right? Where it's like, like with the point you made about the guys who wrote Black Panther, like can they not, no one else can write them anymore, or the fact that you know, I'm sorry. Can you guys hear me?
mhm.
Yeah, or the fact that you want to revere a character, you want to revere an actor when a character, or and so and we're just we just stop like, oh yeah, I revere Chadwick so much because that's what is out there by Ryan Coogler, I believe. What they said, he's like, oh well, I just respect Chadwick so much, or I loved working with him so much, I can't see myself recasting. And I also agree with Ant on the PR spin, because if you use his death, unfortunately, the business side of it is if you use his death, you can play on the sympathy of people and play on the people that revere, the world of Wakanda or just Chadwick so much that they literally won't will run in to watch the movie. It's like, oh my God. And then you're gonna drag out the RIP Chadwick all the way to the second movie comes out, and then it's
Paul Walker.
Well,
no, seriously.
Did you hear how they adding
That-
on to what Mo's saying? Like the way how they're talking and pumping this story up. Ryan, Kevin, and so many others are pumping this up. Is this is a dedication to Chadwick. Oh, this is
the
icing on the cake and a love letter to Chadwick. This is how they're promoting it right now while they're filming.
It's funny that you yelled at Paul Walker because I believe that franchise didn't start making $1 billion till after he left. R.I.P. Paul Walker, but literally the first movie after Paul Walker dies, it hits $1 billion off his death. Heath Ledger.
I mean, that music video, that was. I mean, I played that a couple times myself. I was like, yeah, it's been a long road. I called up Ray. I was like, it's been a long road, Ray.
and so there, and I feel like even if you watch, even though the last F9 that just dropped, right? His name is dropped in that, like, Brian, right? That's his name, Brian Spillner or whatever. They drop Brian, like they name drop. They are dragging that franchise is dragging his death to the bank, and Marvel maybe saw that and they're like, how can we?
Yeah. How can we do the same?
Yeah.
No, I was going to just say, and the difference between the Paul Walker character is that was a Paul Walker character, right? Like you were the Fast franchise was pretty much Paul Walker, Vin Diesel, right? That's who it was. So that's hard to recast, right? Because the movies 100%. Aren't really good. Like the movies, I love the first Fast and the Furious. I even like Fast and Furious too. But the first one, Fast and the Furious, I love. But Fast and the Furious, I got hyped when I saw that. When the first time I was able to movie. Too Fast, Too Furious, I like Tokyo Drift better than that because that little song they had, it was great. But everything else after that was kind of like, except for the relationship between Vin Diesel and Paul Walker. That was what you were going back to see. There's no reason for a Fast 10 or 11 or 12 or any of this stuff again. But the difference is spin-offs. Or the spin-offs. But the difference is when you play Batman, when you play James Bond, when you play Doctor Who, you are just a custodian of the mantle. You're a custodian of this. You are not this. And everybody can have that. And I would love, and when you honor somebody, I guarantee that if Chadwick was like, yes, I never want to be another male Black Panther again, not another T'Challa again, because you're honoring me. That's the only thing he would say. He would say, let somebody else come up. Let's see what they bring to it. And he could be the standard. That's how you keep his name relevant. That's how you keep the character relevant. And so I don't know if they want to go to just having a female Black Panther. I don't know if they want to monopolize off his death. I don't know. But this isn't about honoring him. It feels disrespectful for him to say that the character dies with you. And I'm not just talking about Black Panther. I'm talking about the king. Like, he dies with you.
Yeah, what's interesting though about the verbiage that they use they're not saying there's not going to be another Black Panther. They're being very specific about there not being another T'Challa, and they're being very, very, very specific with that verbiage.
But T'Challa dying with him is an issue. Is no. I can't imagine Adam West saying, "I want Batman to die with me." I mean, not Batman. I want Bruce Wayne to die with me. Like, Dick Grayson can be the Batman, but I want Bruce Wayne to die with me. Does that sound right?
Nobody beats Adam Wee.
So
R.I.P. Adam West.
Great point.
The mayor.
The mayor.
Great point. I gotta ask a question now. So since Marvel has joined this hard line saying we're not gonna recast, right? So we're gonna do Black Panther Wakanda Forever, or is it Worlds of Wakanda? Something,
World of Wakanda is going to be the Disney Plus show, which I'm actually glad.
Oh, okay. It's Wakanda Forever. I'm sorry, Black Panther Wakanda Forever. So since that's what we're gonna get, And this is where, you know, the line has been drawn. It's now like all the arguments we can make, we can sit here and say, hey, you know, he's not the owner of the character, or he is, or he just, we can dissect how he played Black Panther. Some people say in the first Solo he wasn't even the better part of the movie. Some people say, you know, his best appearance as Black Panther was in Civil War. You know, that you, whatever arguments you have, because again, I'm saying in Endgame and Infinity War, you could have literally written him off, and the movies wouldn't have, with the exception of maybe the Battle of Wakanda. Actually, you could have written him off, and the movies wouldn't have, like, it. This movies still would have made this, done the same things they did, because he did nothing in my opinion. He did nothing in either of those movies, Infinity War and or Endgame.
Bruh, I'm gonna let you know. I remember the weekend Infinity War came out. I saw it that Thursday, the night it came out. And by Sunday, my timeline was lit with nothing but people making comments about our king is dead. Our king is dead. How could Disney kill off our king? We just had him in one movie. Like, so for the general audience who connected with this character, they didn't even care that he was in Civil War. They saw Black Panther and they saw Infinity War.
Even though his better, to me, again, his better appearance.
Right, but we're part of the
Civil
fandom.
War.
They did this.
So now,
and that this the weirder part about the MCU. You have fandom, like people like us, and then you have general people who follow these movies now that aren't really connected to the fandom, but they follow because they're attached to certain characters, like Black Panther.
So
great
Black Panther
question.
was for
I'm
the.
sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say Black Panther was for the culture, right? The movie, that trailer when you showed the beginning, I forgot how good that trailer was. That was a good
Yes,
trailer to me.
it
That was a
was
good
a
trailer.
tease. I think it came on in the
Um,
NBA Finals as well, so it was perfect. It was
Yeah.
just the perfect entrance for that trailer.
Now, when Black Panther came out, you had people that were just supporting it because it was kind of like, you ever see that SNL skit when they're talking about like, would you not support Obama? And they do the thing is like, it was like, hey, would you support somebody that wasn't was an atheist? Would you support? It's like, no. So if Obama was an atheist, would you not support him? It's like, oh no, I support. I still vote for him. And it's like, what if Michelle Obama's kids told him to shut up in a Walmart? Shut up. And they said we get outside. It's like they did nothing. Like it's like we still support Obama. People, it became something more than just what it was, right? To see Marvel have a predominant. Sorry, Blade, they don't count you for some reason. But in the MCU, to have Black Panther, that was a cultural statement. People don't care anything about comic book movies, cared about that, right? Same way that people don't care anything about comic book movies, cared about Shang-Chi because he was Asian. like it was, that's what it was because, and they were like, oh, best picture. Black Panther was not best picture. Oh, it was the best Marvel movie. Black Panther was not the best Marvel movie. Like that third act was rough. Just like Shang-Chi is like, oh, it's the best Marvel movie. It was not. like was a bad movie? No. But again, that third act was rough. His best appearance for us probably was Civil War, right? I would say that Peter Parker's best appearance might have been Civil War too. I like the other two movies. Don't get me wrong, but overall,
Yeah, best appearance. Just like, again, the entrance and just everything you do. I think he had the best quips in Civil War and all of that. Same with Chadwick. The best.
Chadwick was just smooth and powerful.
Yes.
Chadwick was that quiet, powerful person.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and he had this swagger to him that's hard to replicate, but give somebody else a chance. Everybody wasn't Sean Connery, right?
He really embodied T'Challa. Like, that's the craziest part about it was, if you read the Black Panther comics from, I would say, the late 80s up until current, he really embodied that Black Panther. Because if you go back before the 80s, you're not going to like that Black Panther.
No, you're not.
Yeah.
So, quick question: if you're Marvel, right, and this happens, this falls in your lap, if you're like in charge of this, what do you do? Like, what is it? Like, what do you do? Like,
It's a business. At the end of the day, Marvel's a multi-billion-dollar company that is suffering because of COVID. Like, no, being honest, like not Marvel. Disney is not, like, Disney's not excluded from everything that's happened in the rest of the world. Like, look at what's going on with the parks, what's going on
They
with the
really
movie
people
theaters.
off.
Like, dude, they're being happy about $100 million and not even 100 million, like $70 million in sales and ticket revenue. Like, oh, this is great. Like, this is a company that was making billions at the box office.
So
Less than
Every movie,
yeah.
even the middle tier movies, making $1 billion.
So
Yeah,
what do you do?
this
So
is a-
this
this
is
is a business.
this is your dilemma. Chadwick is passed. What do you do?
I
Hey,
hate to
Ron,
say
you know
it,
you
but
gotta
you
win.
have to capitalize. Like, I'm sorry. Like, it sucks that they're capitalizing on our people because we're the ones that's going to go out there and make sure this movie makes $1 billion at the box office.
Right.
It does suck. Like, I'm completely transparent. All right, completely transparent. But I will be the person that's out there on Thursday with my wife watching it. You know what I mean? Like,
With the
so
kids, because they want to see them being powerful.
I want to say, well, they did go see Clifford on Saturday, but yeah, I'm scared to bring the kids to the movies. Like, I still have
Oh, with COVID.
that
It's
nervous.
super
Yeah.
packed.
Yeah.
Black Panther is going to be super packed. So
I
Yeah.
just got the clone vaccinated today. Like, we went to the thing and got her vaccinated today because I've been nervous since. Like, as soon as I went down to like 11, I was like, yes, come here. I was questioning whether Black Panther 2 was going to make the money Black Panther 1 made until he
It's
died.
going to.
And once he died, I was like, oh yeah. No. What I mean is
I
the movie
know.
was a cultural statement, right? It was a
Right.
cultural statement. So people who didn't care about comic book movies, didn't care about the MCU, never watched another MCU movie before, went to go see Black Panther, dressed in dashikis, I went every time I went to go see it. Even when I went to go see Infinity War, Black Panther was still playing in the theaters, and it was still packed, and people were still dressed up to go to that. So
Ronald Mills is doing double features. You could watch Black Panther and then watch Infinity War right afterwards.
It was almost like they took your black card if you didn't. So like, how many times you saw Black Panther, right? How many times? Like once. You mean you bootleg?
You couldn't get a movie.
You ain't paid for the movie.
Oh yeah,
you
people
couldn't
were
get a
mad at people
bootleg
for bootlegging. No, people were mad at people for bootlegging Black Panther.
You cannot get a
How
bootleg
dare
of
you
Black Panther.
bootleg Black Panther? It's a black movie.
Right? How people are giving them money? Like
That's a
so
black
so
movie.
you right? So I wondered if the like Wonder Woman, like the other cultural statement movies, if the next one's gonna make that kind of money, regardless. But I didn't wonder that once he died, I knew it.
My biggest fear was going to be the writing of the second movie because of how well this one did and was received. How was the writing going to change? Because I don't know Ryan Coogler to write any sequels. First of all, other than Creed,
he didn't do the Creeds.
He did Creed.
Oh.
He did Creed.
Okay.
Other than Creed, that was one of my biggest questions was how well was the sequel going to be? And then before they announced World of Wakanda, and I know you follow the comics like how I did, that was one of the best things that could have happened for the Black Panther comic was when they did the World of Wakanda, because Black Panther is not your A to B hero. He's a king. He's also the ruler of the dead as well with the necropolis. With that, and then he's a member of the Illuminati, and then he's a hero. So
and let's be honest. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, I was wondering how was you going to encompass all, because they only tipped the iceberg partially with the politics of Wakanda, which wound up being the driving force of the end of the movie with the third act. But because they weren't able to really cram all that and then cram the hero piece in the first two acts, it made the third act kind of cluster because it made it just went all over the place.
Well, also T'Challa. Oh, sorry, I keep interrupting. I'm sorry.
No, you good. I was just saying. So with them doing the World of Wakanda, it does Ryan Coogler a world of good because now he could relax on trying to world build Wakanda and he could really focus on story. But I wonder what direction they're going to go, what villain they're going to go, and how they're going to tell a story while making this a quote unquote honor film for Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah, I think that's all good questions. I always thought that the Namor storyline might be a really good entry point because they mentioned that there was a disruption in the ocean, and I think Endgame. I always thought that, and then you also got these two ancient civilizations that have different tech to go at it. I think that would have been a really good one. the third act of Black Panther was rough for me. It was just a rough third act, and I don't know if they didn't have the money or they just didn't have the time to really fully explore some things. But also, you have to realize Black Panther, T'Challa from the comics is a different uh, king than the one from the movies, right? And I think because of what was going on with Donald Trump and border stuff and everything like that, they changed some of the message. Comic book Wakanda would not let the Avengers bring a bunch of
no.
like during there's this thing called the Secret Invasion or whatever, where skulls come in, they're going to do this plot, and I don't think Black Panther warned the rest of the world. But what they did is they took the heads of all the skulls and to try to infiltrate Wakanda, put their heads on pikes around the border of their territory, and just said, "Don't come here." Like, don't
come here.
Yeah,
don't come here. Like, so
Fight
hey,
the-
we want to
fight the
hide
war
our
outside.
robot here and everything like that. They was like, no.
Yeah, Wakanda
Because,
does not lose battles. The only person that's come close to defeating was two people, Namor and Doom. And that whole Doom thing, that was Wakanda really lost on long run, but they won.
I mean, it's Wakanda, and they don't share technology. So that whole message about sharing technology, Wakanda don't share technology with the world. They don't trust the world. Like, what are you talking about? So they're gonna make. To me, an interesting thing would be is if Killmonger actually got some of the ships out and took over some territory, and then a good political thing for the next movie would have been like, what does Wakanda do that they conquered this territory? And like I don't know, I thought it would have been a cool thing. But anyway, it's a Disney movie. What I was saying is that there's a lot of story that you can do with T'Challa, and the thing is, I didn't even really. I'm a little older than y'all, but like when I was growing up, I almost hated some of the black heroes because I thought they were stereotyped when I would see them in the media, and they were they were using slang where people wouldn't use slang, and it was kind of like like in the 80s.
I hated Luke Cage comics.
Like Luke Cage
up.
dabbing in that.
Yeah, Luke Cage and Black. But why is he named Black Lightning? It seemed offensive to me, and I think later iterations made it more powerful. But there was a thing you remember the Wizard magazine? Yeah, you remember that? It was So they would come out with these things and would just do different articles on comics, and it was like the 20 top times like T'Challa had trolled Tony Stark. And I was like, what? And I was reading all these things about how T'Challa had like one up Tony Stark, stole his company, like made his technology trash, like took over his suits. Like I was like, man, this is a better character than I thought it was. And then I also thought that the Black Panther name was from the Black Panther. It just seemed like appropriation to me. I didn't really get it. And when I went to go actually look at some of his stories and how well he was written, and when I could find him, I was like, oh man, I completely misjudged this character.
So Black Panther, I got introduced weirdly. It wasn't through Wizard, it was through my mom. So my mom and a lot of her family collected comics back in the day. So when I lived in the South, they used to read the Black Panther comics to me like bedtime stories. Like Black Panther and Spider-Man, they read them to me as a little kid until I was able to read for myself. And so that's how I got indoctrinated in the Black Panther. So like to me, he was always a dope character, but the older stuff was weird how it was written because they went out their way to bring in the Fantastic Four into his stories.
Yo, he pimps Sue Storm. Like we thought Namor had a thing. Sue Storm stripped and bathed and swam naked with T'Challa. And this is a comic written in I think it was like the 70s or something like that. And I was like, Marvel has a black man, African Prince.
And he's giving his best game and she's with it.
He
was with it. I actually saw that.
No. She was.
No. I saw it online. You know, during.
Oh, they have it online.
Yeah. No. The help me out. The clip or the cutout.
Oh,
I saw that.
Okay.
I saw that image.
And speaking of online, when BET did the stop motion animation for that one run of
Jaimon Hansu, yeah.
Yes. And there was a line in there we'll never see the Disney movie, but like Claw has like earthquaked Wakanda, has killed like Image's uncle as his mom a knife to his mom's throat, and he calls him. He's like, hey, kill yourself. He's like, what? He's like, kill yourself. He's like, why? What do you mean? He's like, or you'll do what? He's like, I'll kill your mom and destroy your country. You're gonna do that anyway. He's like, do you have kids? He was like, no, what? No kids. He's like, good, because I'd have to kill them too for what you've done. I'm coming for you, so do whatever you're gonna do.
Facts.
And I was like, oh my god,
Facts.
that's such a that's such a dark.
Yeah.
So we all agree. We all agree. There's so much you can do with Black Panther, and Marvel is a 3-movie shop, right? So it's supposed to be 3 movies, 3 Black Panther, and I get so. Why don't you recast T'Challa right now? So my thing is, I would have
You recast the Hulk.
Yeah, you recast.
Recast War Machine.
Let me ask you this:
Easy. I would have
They
recast
knew-
T'Challa right now, and
They
then
knew that Chadwick Boseman had cancer. I don't mean to cut you off, but hold up. What makes you think? Because mind you, the necropolisis is in Wakanda.
no.
What makes you think you don't think that they recorded something?
They're not doing that. I'll tell you what.
Not even a goodbye message or anything.
I'll tell you why I think they're not doing that. Right? They're not doing that because they brought him back to play T'Challa in What If.
He
did a lot of What If though.
He did a lot of
He knew he was going. He was doing his voice. He had to. I would really love the time. He had to be doing this when he was way out.
He did like what 4 episodes of What If?
Yeah.
He did more than almost everybody else, which makes me think they wanted to get it. He wanted to do as much in that role as possible because I feel like he felt like he was shortchanging the role because of his health, and I feel like Disney wanted to get as much out of him as possible as well. Which makes me think he recorded something. He recorded something.
I'm telling you, he did not, and I'll tell you because in Endgame, you see, I think that is the leanest or smallest Chadwick or.
Which makes me think they recorded something in character.
No, they didn't. They want to drag this death. They want to. I would recast immediately. I wouldn't have him do What If. I wouldn't, because you're putting his face out there. No, I would do What If.
I would do What If.
This is why I wouldn't have him do What If, right? I wouldn't, because you're putting his face out there and his image out there. So you're.
How many people do you think? How many people do you think watch What If? Because there's a headline out right now about Captain America 4, where they're about to do the same thing all over again, which what they did with Sam Wilson in the Falcon and Winter Soldier.
I put that in the chat. Yeah, he has to earn being Captain America. Get the fuck out.
So they're about to do the same thing again. So that lets me know
a 6-week episode, however long that show was.
So you know what that tells me?
Steve Rogers earned Captain America. He got a steroid injection.
Hear me out. So that tells me that the audience that they thought they were getting on the Disney Plus Marvel series, they're not getting.
They're getting. That's why you think they're doing that. No, the actual article said they're letting him earn Captain America without powers. Mm-hmm. So you're going to see him go through.
He already did.
That's probably what it is. Yes, he already did, but it's a dumb article anyways, and we know they're just trying to drag stuff out because they just had their big announcement weekend, and they put out all the things they're gonna put out for the future and what blah 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 blah, and that's all stuff to cover up. Just Anthony says this all the time. It's a spin. I would have recast immediately. I'm not letting him do What If because I don't want his face out there. I don't want where we're at right now. I don't want people to be like, no, Chadwick is the only person who can play T'Challa, because you've seen him in What If. You've seen him in all those What If movies or episodes. And then, after his run before he dies, and then you think, right? Because there's no mention of anything. You think he's gone, right? You think they're done. And then they drop What If, and 4 episodes, boom, 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 he's in it. You just put his face back out there. You reminded people who he was, and now we have this argument. Another argument was, well, Marvel was going to catch flack for recasting. Yes, you're going to catch flack for recasting. Every actor who has ever taken on an iconic role has caught flack for that role. Shit. One of the best Batmans, we can argue, not even one of the best, after Adam West was Beetlejuice. People complain. I have the article of people. I found an article of people complaining that Beetlejuice is playing Batman. Fast forward to the Machinist playing Batman. He was so skinny, the Machinist. How do you get him to turn around and be Batman? Batman is supposed to be big. Batman is supposed to be. How tall is Christian Bale? He's probably not 6. He's probably like 6'2". Yeah, he's not 6'2". Like he's not imposing. So you can't. And then the movie he just played was The Machinist, and he was super skinny in that. How does he get to play Batman? Boom, he plays Batman 3 times, and guess what we do? We love it. Drop
A
Heath
good
Ledger in the mix.
performance. A
His
good
performance.
will outshine the criticism. You have to. I'm sorry. I mean, you about to say Heath Ledger. Heath Ledger got all that
That's
black.
literally where I was going with it, right? I'm just dropping. Yeah, so I'm name dropping, but every time we've been surprised. So it's about performance. If you put a charismatic actor in front of a camera, if you're a
With a
good
good
enough
script.
if you're a good enough director, you can bring out a good performance from that
So that means
actor.
there's only one person that could be Black Panther, Chris Pratt.
Yo, I've been defending Chris Pratt though. Like, did y'all see that thing where when they were getting on him for like he was doing a thing to his wife and was like, I love her. She gave me a beautiful child, healthy child, and da da da.
And
He was like,
everyone was like,
he didn't mention his son. The fuck? He
no,
didn't mention
it
his
was because
stepmom.
I think his son is,
Yeah, but it's like I was like, what?
What's up with his son?
okay, his son is has a
From his
little
first
development.
marriage has health issues, right?
Yeah.
So
Oh,
in
okay.
this thing, he was giving a thing to his wife for his birthday or some statement. He was like,
Yeah,
"I
he made a
love her.
statement
She
and he
turned my
said, "I
life
love her. She
around. She
gave
gave
me
me a
health."
healthy baby girl, a beautiful healthy baby girl. She's a loving mom." Da, da, da. People was like, he didn't mention she was a stepmom too. Like, she didn't mention that. How dare he say he's happy he has a healthy baby girl? That says something about his son. The day a man can't just say, "I'm glad I have a healthy kid." You know what? I bet you the brother's like, "I'm glad I have a healthy baby girl, a baby sister too." Like,
But I think the thing is already people don't like Chris Pratt.
because he's
Yeah,
conservative.
and no,
Yes,
because it's religion, because of that. Like,
super conservative, and he left Anna Faris and their kid, and it's a very weird situation with Chris Pratt. It's
Because
so
you got
weird
to stay with
that
somebody you want to stay with.
he has survived cancel
it's so
culture.
weird that Marvel made. I know it's What If, but Marvel was like, nah, let's just keep you on the sidelines for now. Let's make
Yo,
T'Challa Star
they
Lord, and
joked
he's
Star
going
Lord
to.
so hard. Like, they made it seem like, nah, the best possible future was if you were Star Lord. Like, that was my only. So that was one of my things about What If is they made it seem like T'Challa was just perfect. Like, everything in that universe was just
100% perfect.
and that's not how What If should be.
You know,
Like, What If.
yeah,
What if
I
goes
almost didn't
dark?
like that he did that to Star Lord though. I
Yeah,
almost
but
didn't like
honestly,
it.
I would have blended. I would have recast. I would have waited to What If. I would have recast, and then mid
Maybe
episode, I probably would have switched between the
that makes
Chadwick
sense.
voice into the new guy.
So we start to
In
get
loving memory of
used to.
Chadwick,
Right.
all hail the king, whatever, or bow to the chief, however you want to say it. Brought the new guy in, and then you have to earn your chops. Like you're gonna have to put in that good performance. You're gonna make the audience get in love with you because they're gonna want to hate you out of loyalty to Chadwick.
Right.
But you can do it because it's been done before.
That's
So
why one suggestion. No, go ahead, Mom. My bad.
So I'm just saying. So now we're gonna sit here with a Black Panther Wakanda Forever movie without a black. Well, I wouldn't say without a Black Panther, but without a T'Challa. And I think of all the characters in the Marvel Cinematic Universe that have gone through their full runs, I think T'Challa getting the short end of the stick in a way. I think T'Challa's getting the short end of the stick by not getting a full second movie, and then we might have to wait to the third movie to even. And this is the word they used also in that video that kind of pissed me off. Oh, we're not going to see T'Challa in the 616 universe. So you're going to tell me what you've now decided to do is maybe in a multiverse type of situation. That is so trash to me, and that's what I'm. That is.
But we knew
why I do.
eventually it was going to be multiverse T'Challa. We knew we was going to get him from
But bro,
another
can
but
we
what
at
he's
least
saying
get
is he's done.
616?
Yeah, so
Go
he's
ahead.
done. He's saying he's done out of what Mo's putting on this way. What Mo's saying is that it's trash and he's not going to be in the main Marvel MCU. And there's no need. Like if Chris Evans dies, you're not going to get another guy to play Captain America ever again. Like, it doesn't make any sense. And you're only doing it because Chadwick's black. Like, that's the only reason you're doing it.
Yes.
And and I think you're doing a disservice to the character, doing a disservice to the culture, not to give somebody else a chance to see what they can bring. It's a role. It's a role. So whatever you can bring to this role. who are like oh, you can never get another Wolverine. Well,
Yes, you can.
you can get another Wolverine. You can get another Iron Man. Like I expect, hey, 10 years from now, you want to tell some Iron Man stories? You can hire somebody else. We've had how many Batman? Like, like that's what these roles should be. And I think this is the mainstream invading our comic culture. We have seen different iterations of characters depending on who the writers were. Our whole comic book experience, our whole
Yeah.
comic book character cartoon experience. Oh, this is your interpretation of the character. I like this. It ain't mine, but I like this. No, this was trash. You like this? All right, this is your okay, fine. Oh, we both hate this? Yeah, we both hate this. No, you know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
that's what these are. And to retire a whole character because an actor dies, like
That's a disservice to all the great writing, all the great storyline. So we're not going to do Axe's event. Is that what you're telling me? So we're not going to do any of the Secret Wars.
Yeah,
That's
I'm just kind of shell shocked that this is where they want to go. And again, I think they're not going to fully commit, because if this movie comes out and it's not great because you've left out this, people are going to notice the child is missing. But if this movie comes out and it's not great, Marvel is going to have to eat crow and eat their dust, and then now rush into casting for the third movie.
this is white folks listening to people that were mourning and grieving
Yeah.
Chadwick gone. And they were like, oh yeah, we can't do this. We only bad press. We call racist or something.
Exactly.
No,
But then again,
like we were mourning. We were mourning the character. We were mourning the interpretation. The same way after Dark Knight ended, my first thought was, we will never see this performance again. I hope they
thought
have
the
some
same
footage
thing.
to. Yeah, I was like, I hope they save some footage to put in the next movie of them like escaping or some stuff like
I
that.
thought the same thing.
And I was like, that's what I mourned. And you know what? That's a testimony to Heath Ledger. That's a
yes,
testimony to his character. Don't retire the Joker. One, you're not going to do that because the Joker makes you so much money. You're not.
So much
You're not going to retire the
People watch
Joker.
fucking Joker movie
movies to
without
watch the
Batman
Joker.
made $1 billion. Get the
Yeah.
fuck out of here.
Yeah, but the biggest testament, the biggest testament to their ability, to their skill, to their art was, man, I'm mourning. I won't get this interpretation again. I'm
Right.
mourning this. It grieves me.
But to that point, I think there was word that before that he was gonna be in the third movie, you know.
Oh, Joker.
The Joker was gonna be in the third movie, but I guess
Yeah.
because Batman has such a huge rogues gallery, it just makes sense. You can just do
Nolan
something
said
different.
he was such a friend with Heath Ledger that he couldn't bring himself to recast the role, and the third movie suffered for it. Like I don't know what the
Exactly.
resolution was in that series, that three trilogy, but I think the third movie suffered for it.
I mean, I even though I enjoyed the third movie, I feel like hearing that we could have gotten a Joker just kind of makes me feel like I would have liked to see that.
Just a
We
small
didn't
scene
get
of him
we didn't,
escaping would have been enough for me in the third
yeah,
movie.
it felt like the Bane we got, was kind of like, oh, we now have to rewrite our story real quick, like
Mhm.
that the Bane and Talia, all of that. We have to hurry up and change what we had. Like this is the B story that we were probably never gonna ever film, and now we got to film this because this.
But what was
So
more insulting is they didn't even like reference the Joker, right? They
And that
said
was
yeah,
the part that made me mad. They
yes,
released all the inmates and all that good stuff, but they never referenced the Joker at all.
never said
Batman's
even if they
greatest
showed a
enemy.
cell, even if they showed a door and it just marked "Don't open" or something like that, like we just left them in
What would
there.
have been great? What would have been great is when you open all the cells, instead of the Joker, you see someone dressed as the Joker turning around and laughing, or with the poison gas smile on his face.
Yeah,
You would have that. I think that movie
that
would
would
have
that would
gone
have sold the
over the top.
movie.
Over the top, yeah. So you had so much potential, but hey, look, Marvel, you've seen
But
it.
Oh,
Christopher
like
Nolan
Killing Joke
loved Heath
Joker.
Ledger. Yeah, but Christopher Nolan loved Heath Ledger, and he was like, I can't bring myself to do anything with that role without him. And if we're to believe what's going on with Ryan, like maybe that's the same thing, but you can't let a whole universe suffer because, like, you know what I mean? Like, all right,
Yeah.
look, just show him on the throne. We're gonna tell a different story of Wakanda, but we're gonna recast. Like, you gotta get over it, man. This is a
Yeah, because again, we're gonna see there's gonna be in between movie, and who knows if Wakanda Forever does well, do you think Marvel's gonna say, Okay, Wakanda War Forever does well. We still don't need to rush into recasting because now we can make a Black Panther movie without Black Panther in it.
Here's
It's
the thing: you have one of T'Challa's greatest villains in Wabike, right? That so for those who don't know, that's the Black Panther version of the Joker. He's more political though, and with them now making a World of Wakanda series, this is one of that would be one of the characters that really drives T'Challa's character, and for them not having T'Challa there and to actually and skip over that character altogether is a huge disservice to all of us, not just MCU fans, but to fans that actually want to watch these movies, because this is somebody who's really one of those turning factors. Like everybody goes to Namor, everybody goes to Doctor Doom, but there are characters right there in Wakanda who really build T'Challa into who he is to take on the bigger threats.
And you could invest more right into that culture because
Mm-hmm.
like they never got the funding or the time that like the X-Men got to build their universe up, or after the movies came out, Iron Man or Spider-Man. You can invest more time into Wakanda to build there's so many different tribes and countries inside Wakanda that you could explore. And they mentioned Best, their god, like the pet god, like there's so much you can do with it. It was a great story with Doctor Doom. Is like, all right, before you kill me, like put me before your God. And that, I won't go into how everything happened, but there's so many great stories you can tell with all these characters in this world. And T'Challa is a big part of that. And there's no reason to kill the character. And so what, you're gonna kill him in the story? Like, I don't understand what you're gonna do. Are you just gonna say he's too busy to help out? Like Brian?
exactly.
Like,
So yeah, so now you have to write that in a way that is going to convince us watching to believe that that's what T'Challa does, even though in the first movie that's not what he believes. He actually has an argument with his father that we shouldn't have done what we did to my nephew, or we shouldn't have done that to him. We should have saved him and brought him back to Wakanda. Maybe we wouldn't be going like that's you've written his character to feel that way, and now you're gonna tell if you dare say he's too busy to help, get the fuck out of here. I don't believe that. All right, I'm sorry.
no, I was gonna say, and sorry, like I liked what she brought to the character and the MCU, but they're gonna do a lot of major changes for me to believe that she's one Black Panther, and two make me care enough to watch her. And I feel like they're bringing Ironheart in there to boost up the cast a little bit.
Yes.
I only read the first issue of Ironheart. I hear it got canceled. I don't think Ironheart's actually was ever a character to cross over. So, well, I'm not opposed to it because you can like they made to me they did a better job with Civil War than the Civil War did in the comics, and I didn't like that storyline in the comics that much. Mm-hmm. So you can do it, but I'm gonna need you to beef up that writing, and she's gonna have to change her stuff with these characters for me to care about these characters. That's just me.
I want to know why they want to bring Ironheart into the Wakanda story.
Because she's black.
Yeah, and see that's my problem with it. So I followed the comics, so
it's
I
not
know.
Just
so
black. She's also like scientist, so STEM. They want to
but
like more black.
But here's the thing: why would she doesn't need Wakanda? Like that's the part though, and that's why Ant's right about the because she's black part, because she doesn't need Wakanda. Like the thing that made her great was decent, because I read like the first volume or first 2 volumes of her. Mind you, I like Infamous, the Infamous Iron Man a lot better because those 2 stories ran at the same time, with Ironheart and Doctor Doom being Iron Man at the same time.
Yeah.
And
that was kind of cute.
Doom's run was way better. Like Doom's run was way better. But anyway, but she does with her character and how her character is developed. They could do that on the big screen and it would come off cool. You don't need to actually shoehorn her into Wakanda.
She's getting a Disney Plus show, so it could end with her in Wakanda.
I don't like the fact that
we could find out. We could find out why she goes to Wakanda in the Disney Plus show.
She's smart. Like I like the idea that I don't know Pepper would want to go after her. Like, why are you so smart? Why are you able to build your own Iron Man armor in your dorm room with scraps that you're finding around the campus, and this thing is fully functional, and you're over here fighting crime in third world countries? Like, because that's what happened in the comics. Like, she tested off the charts in like second or third grade, and was like a genius. And Tony had her on his radar all that time because of how smart she was. So when Tony
Hey,
died because of Captain Marvel, boom, that was his successor.
Hey, Robert Downey, you want $30 million to do 15 minutes worth of hologram work and voiceover work to be an AI system for this kid? All right, I guess. How long is it gonna take? 2 days. 2 days of work, $30 million. All right. You know, like
you don't even have to do that. Here's the cooler part about it. You don't even have to get Robbie Downey Jr. You already got somebody on staff that could do it. Who's that? You may ask. Jarvis.
Join the Jarvis system, and it works out well. I'm just saying, there's multiple ways to sell her. I don't need her in a Wakanda movie. Like
the stories don't need to overlap.
They don't.
Well, again, like I said, she has a Disney Plus series, and then there's Iron War, so we will find out why she goes to Wakanda.
If the writing wasn't so good with Storm being with Wakanda, I was against the Storm being with Wakanda because she was black. What's going on?
I'm sorry, I didn't care for it.
Nobody did.
I didn't care.
None of us cared about it.
Because it wasn't
because
even
it was so
an ideal relationship, though, in my opinion.
But anyway, there were some good stories that came from it. Like there were some good, like But it was like, oh, you're with Forge. Now you're just fucking T'Challa, huh? Because you're both because that's treated like Africa's one place. They have to treat I hate when they treat like Africa like it's one big country. It's just one big country. It's
like mad country
from over here and T'Challa's in Wakanda. So y'all must know each other, right? Big continent, y'all must know each other. Y'all all know each other, right?
This all goes together.
But Storm is Kenyan, right?
So I know she's been Kenyan. I know she's been Moroccan at one point. In the Ultimate,
I remember her being Moroccan. But if she's Kenyan, that's East Africa. Wakanda's supposed to be in East Africa, so I can see that. No. I can see it. Hold on. I can see it. Yeah. Let me stop.
No. You're
before we go. These guys don't even know we're going to talk about it yet, but we are going to talk about something real quick that happened this weekend, and that Disney did this weekend. Last weekend? Yeah. So they don't know we're going to talk about it, but I'm about to let them know what we're going to talk about in a second.
Previously on X-Men.
Hey, everybody put your ones up one time. Everybody put your ones up one time. Everybody
so,
out there, put your ones up.
Of all the things Disney dropped that we're going to, Disney Plus was going to get was X-Men 97. We're just going to redo that series for you guys, and it's going to, we're just going to use the same aesthetic and motif, and it's just going to be literally that, right?
Same artist.
One's
still up.
I am cautiously excited about that. So while I like the idea of X-Men 97 coming back, but I just don't like that Marvel Studios is doing X-Men 97 now.
Agreed.
That's why I'm still up. This. That's where I am with this, and I just wanted to know what you guys thought.
Pull it out for my homie Morph.
Yo, so I just wanted to find out what you guys thought about that.
My one's still up. That's what I do right here. One's in the air.
Are they just trying to get viewers? Like, are they just trying to get people to sign up for Disney
Plus? Go ahead, Doc. You go first.
One's in the air. Yo. Thank you, Disney. You love me. You effing love me. Hi, I'm Mickey. I want to say to all you 90s children, I effing love you. Give me your money. Yo, I'm so glad Disney did this. By far, this was like one of the best cartoons back in the day. I have a very strong feeling this is going to fall flat because, mind you, it's a different climate, it's a different world. There's different agendas in the world. At the time when this came on Fox on Saturday mornings,
Fox did this.
Yeah, you see that look right there, right? Because that's where I was about to go. That's where I was about to go. Fox, when this came on Fox Kids in the morning, that and the Spider-Man cartoon, and what else used to come on? The Power Rangers, and there was another cartoon that used to come on around in the morning. The Iron Man cartoon had a short run.
Spider-Fly, radioactive Spider-Fly.
Hey, one's in the air, one's in the air.
Oh man, I love
one's
that.
In the air. Hey. So look.
Those intros are on my playlist on my Spotify right now. I randomly shuffle, and the X-Men theme. I got like 3 different versions of it. I got like a heavy metal one. I got a hip hop one.
When you play that, I got my earphones on, right? I got these on. These is what I use to mix down my beats and stuff, right? Yo, the bass line and the instruments and everything. Oh my god, this was an intro. That Spider-Man was an intro. This cartoon was one of the best, especially if you was a comic book reader. You know what I mean? Like it was so close to canon. So close.
Like there was like and I think the Guns N' Roses do the Spider-Man intro. Somebody, it was some famous band.
No, was it Led Zeppelin? Who was it? It was somebody.
It was a famous band. That riff. We have to look that up.
But
I'll let you go. I'll let you finish before
I just want to say we were in a different political climate back then, right? Like the fact that I mentioned Fox and you saw Mo's reaction because Fox allowed a show that was so progressive like this, that spoke on so many different social issues like this, and mind you, it wasn't forced. It was just natural. It was great writing. They let the stories from the comics just speak for themselves, and they just acted it out. They had the perfect voice actors. This thing actually still holds. I watched up to like season 4 recently, upstairs with the kids, and like they were into it. This really holds up to the test of time. What's sad is this had a better Dark Phoenix story than the 2 tries that they did with the movies.
Aerosmith. Joe
Aerosmith.
Yeah. So I'm scared what Disney's going to do with this. Like, I'm really scared of how Disney's going to handle this X-Men.
So, I'm piggybacking on everything you just said, right?
Cheers.
But let me first just say the X-Men 90s cartoon, that intro got you pumped. I remember when it first came on, it was kind of special in evening for that first 2 episodes. And they didn't have any more films. They replayed those first 2 episodes a lot until they actually had a full season like the next year. And it was nothing like it. I would say this Batman and Gargoyles were the most mature things we were getting on television for kids. Like Gargoyles introduced me to Shakespeare. Batman just like blew my mind with the mature themes and psychology that they had in their villains. And X-Men was just pure political. Like I know later on they were saying that X-Men were like about gay rights. No, X-Men were about civil rights when I was growing up. Like that's not these mutants were black folks. And in my mind, going through this stuff.
You and they were Malcolm and Martin with Professor X and Magneto. Like books you watched them with Beast. Like, I mean, come on. Man.
They had things about religion. I remember when Nightcrawler was ministered, but you didn't have to be about it. But they had these different characters, these different backgrounds that came together. And they gave us a great writing. The animation never got the funding like a Batman or a Superman show, or the animation was never held up to like that.
And it was still better. It was like comic book quality on screen.
Oh no! See, I'll stop you right there. It was not better. Batman TAS
was a better animation.
Batman was a good series. I will never knock this.
Batman Gargoyles. Spider-Man 94 show better animation.
Dude, but I just feel like when I looked at X-Men, I looked at the comics right on screen. That's how I feel.
But X-Men had detailing characters. there were so much. The people who were writing this show were fans because there would be people in the background from a comic book story that's obscure. We just walking through the background in some shot or a worldview or something like that. There was so much layered into this. It was amazing. It was an amazing experience as a kid to have this show. And then when you tell them they didn't care about it anymore and everything dropped in animation, how many episodes you got per season, those last couple seasons, it was hard. It was hard. And apparently because Fox didn't like that so many of their top shows are from Marvel or something like that. But I can't remember. I don't remember the story. But anyway.
You remember something along that lines. And then we had the X-Men Evolution, which was garbage that came out afterwards.
So there was garbage with Spider-Man Ultimate.
Amazing Spider-Man. Was it Ultimate or Amazing? It was the one where he was in space with the Venom and
they were trying to copy out Batman Beyond, but it was terrible.
Oh no, wasn't that Spider-Man 2099?
No, it was like Spider-Man. Look it up. It's like Spider-Man Unlimited or something. Anyway,
because he had like a nano suit, but it was bad.
Because Spectacular Spider-Man is still GOAT.
Spectacular Spider-Man is GOAT.
Yeah, it is.
With the best theme ever.
Yeah, I'm so sad that show got axed because of the merger. I mean, because of the acquisition. Anyway, X-Men had minority characters that were powerful, strong, had agency, had women characters. I always argue this is like when people try to put wokeness or progressiveness in the comics. Comics have been progressive for decades. The most powerful person on most teams is usually the one with a female character. Like the most powerful, like all these stories revolve around. Like everybody has agency. Like you mentioned, the Phoenix Saga was better in this. You know why? Because this show was based on the best run of the X-Men in history, probably up until recent times.
Yeah.
Chris Claremont. Chris Claremont's 10-year run or whatever.
Yeah.
Is everything that X-Men is based on. It's why they haven't gotten right since. Why, like all these things he set up, this cohesive storyline of characters and consistency of characters he set up, got the X-Men through for 2 more decades, right? And because
Chris knew how to flesh out the characters. Like there's a comic where I don't mean to cut you off. I just want to add this in. There's a storyline. It was only like one issue where it was Magneto and Charles Xavier, and Charles Xavier was able to walk, and they were in they was in Savage Lands, and they reflected on their life throughout the years. And Magneto questions like, Charles, when do we get to this place where we're on opposite ends constantly? Like, think of all the times that we have teamed up together when we're on opposite ends and we work together. Why are we constantly at odds with each other? And like Charles is unable to really give an answer. And Charles finds himself actually agreeing with Magneto. And it's like so much character building. And at the end of the day, Charles still goes back to his side and Magneto still goes back to his side. And but Chris really fleshed that out, like that story and that history between the two, where Charles at the end of the day does actually agree with a lot of Magneto.
And every character gets that pathos and has a mythos to these characters, these stories, and it all made sense. And so because he built this world, and I know there were some things they wanted to get faster issues out during the Jim Lee era and stuff like that. So and I didn't think they realized how important that was. But then they brought that storytelling into the 90s X-Men show. Retold a lot of his stories. And to me, always, these were the X-Men characters. This show team was always now we got in the comic books, your understanding of the X-Men expanded. But for a lot of us in the 90s, this was the X-Men. Like people have been asking for a Gambit movie based on the fact that Gambit was in the show.
Yes. People have been asking for people have been begged Fox for costumes because of this show.
Matter of fact, a lot of us got a sexual awakening when we saw that ass.
Bruh.
Shout out to Apocalypse.
Let me I'm about to tell you why I have zero faith in Marvel Studios.
Let me get to that. Let me just finish. Last 2 more minutes. Less a minute. Now that said, they're going to try to inject what they think is progressive values into something that's already progressive. They're going to try to twist story. That's one of the things that happened to Cowboy Bebop. They're going to try to twist some stories around where you're going to make a character that's not important to this particular story. They probably have a million other stories, but you're going to make them important to this story when they're not. It's kind of like we did with the X-Men movies, where Wolverine was always a good character, but he was never the point of many of the stories in Chris Claremont's run. He was not the like Cyclops and Jean Grey's and X for the future. Xavier was the person of today. Storm was a great leader. Wolverine was a good character, but he wasn't the point. Like he was never the point of the story. Like I said, that was his own little thing.
I think he became a fan favorite, and they just kind of leaned into it super hard.
And so I'm afraid they're going to bring that to this. I don't want this to be Wolverine the X-Men. I don't want this to be Rogue in the X-Men. I don't want this to be you're oppressing us, Charles, or anything like that. Like the writing, you got to get a good staff to do it. Chris Claremont actually did a comic series. I'm sorry. Chris Claremont actually did a series. Chris Claremont actually did a series. They brought him back and was like, this is what would happen 10 years after my story ended. And it was like, oh, all these characters progressed. The characters are not older except for Wolverine. And if you get somebody that knows what they're doing, you can do it. Will they do that? Because will they understand the material they're taking from? I don't think so.
How will cancel culture affect Gambit? The Gambit.
Hold on.
He can't be a womanizer, right?
Yes, he can. But this is why I 100% think that
can he be a lovable womanizer in 2023?
Yes.
Hold
on.
Let me cancel.
This is why I 100% believe Marvel is gonna fall flat. I don't not Gambit, not Wolverine, not anything else. This is just why. Avengers
was a great show.
That was a great show.
Avengers Earth.
Did you see what replaced it?
Was a great shoot.
They only had like 2 seasons though, which is sad.
Because they didn't like the fact that it was long form storytelling, and they replaced it with that other crap. Is it Avengers Assemble or whatever that?
Avengers Assemble.
So
that
Earth Mightiest Heroes is the last good Marvel cartoon I have seen.
And this is why I don't think Marvel is gonna be able to handle this show. Because with X-Men, they told long form stories. Avengers Assemble has been going on for so long, and it's very episodic. Even if they have a series of episodes, it'll be like 3, like part 1, part 2, part 3, and boom, next, we're moving on. They haven't handled animation in a good way since Earth's Mightiest Hero, since Spectacular. I think was Spectacular Spider-Man. Was that was that Sony?
Time, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was around the same time. And as soon as we were looking at maybe the merger, like when the Avengers became a big thing in the movies, things started changing. Characters started changing.
So maybe Spectacular was the last good show. Maybe Spectacular was the last good one. Whatever one is whichever one is
the last one, because and because of that, I don't believe they can do it. I don't see how to, like, even if you get the writers, because you still have to answer to certain people who want certain things. As Anthony has said, you might try to inject something that's not supposed to be in here. You might try to make a character that's not supposed to. Like, imagine if they try to make this a Storm show because Black woman. And they want to, they want to push something. Imagine if they want to push another story, or you want to push Wolverine into being, you want to do another Wolverine on the X-Men. I have no faith. I have no faith in them. Are they going to keep the opening series? Of course they're going to. Of course they're going to keep the opener because that's what's going to bring people into watching the show in the first place. Is that a lot of us watched it once you saw that opener, you just were hooked, and everyone knows that dun, 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 like you could hear that miles away and be like, I know, look like that Leo meme, you can see that. So that's what they're gonna do. They're just gonna
Well, did
bring
you
that
see that
format
interview
here.
with the Marvel exec? Where that said
Huh?
that the X-Men name was outdated? Did you see that
Yes.
interview? And it was like they were saying that the X-Men name is outdated. There's plenty like this exec that you could tell she's never read an X-Men comic book in her life, and she's like, there's a lot of women in X-Men. There's why is it named the X-Men? It should be named X People. And I was like, oh my gosh,
So it's
you're
just
gonna ruin X-Men.
it's
It's people like
and
that that scare me.
no, hold on. You're not gonna ruin X-Men because I feel like X-Men is already where it's at. You're going to ruin the last great X-Men, bro. The last great X-Men in TV, because once they inject once you connect X-Men 97 to the X-Men that we grew up on, it's one thing now. You can't separate. You can't. No, that's not my X-Men. It's one thing, bro. Like unless you name it something different, it's X-Men, bro.
Stop.
And that's why I feel like Marvel can't. I don't. I'm not here for it. I'm so scared.
If
If it,
they
if
change the team name to X People, I'm gonna rant for years. Just so you know.
I'm gonna rant it.
and you know what, I wouldn't blame you. I'll probably join you because no, like there's certain things. It's like what was his Perlmutter saying? No, Iron Fist has to be a white man. In my opinion, was a good thing.
Well,
I
here's the thing. Did you? I don't want to sound messed up, but for somebody who actually read the Power Man Iron Fist comics and many of the Iron Fist comics, it made sense for him to be white. Like I know this catches flack, but it makes sense for him to be white. Like this is a guy who is kind of like a pure mind. Like he doesn't really understand white privilege. He doesn't really understand the constraints of like white power, all this, all the.
He wasn't a white savior character. He wasn't a white savior character.
He was more so learning.
He was bringing Eastern philosophy to the West, of anything, and the problem in the show was he didn't know how to throw a punch, and he appropriated their mystic art and stole it instead of the comics version.
You're right,
So,
right.
So there was a lot of problems, and it was he couldn't. You made a show about kung fu, and you got a character, and you got an actor that couldn't fight, and you didn't put him in a mask. So that was. But again, instead of having that conversation, it became about him being a white guy that knew kung fu.
Yeah. And here's the funny part, and I got into this conversation with somebody you and I both know, Aunt, because she came to me when the show was first coming out, and she was making a complaint. And I was like, let me ask you this question: have you ever bought one of those comics? She goes, no. I like, do you read comics? No. If he was Asian and he was in the comics, would you have read one of those comics? Yeah. Well, have you ever bought a Shang-Chi comic? No. So you had an opportunity to, but you didn't. So what's the difference? And and she goes, well, who the hell is Shang-Chi?
Well, and that's my thing. You're changing stories for people who aren't going to buy merchandise. They're not going to buy. If they do, they might buy one shirt. They might buy what? They're not going to follow the character. They're not really going to support the character. They might buy a ticket. Just tell good stories, and for the character, and there's characters, their stories have been lasting for decades. As a good litmus test of will it work or not, right? Just tell the good story. Just tell the good story. And I think that we're losing where we could tell a great story and have a message that made you want to be a better person in writing nowadays. And I know I sound like an old man, but like you should be able to tell a story that was well written with great character arcs and get a message that makes you want to be a better person. Comics made me want to be a better person. Comics made me want to be. They gave me empathy and it made me understand a lot of different things that was going on in my world. It gave me a language to understand my emotions, right? There was an issue of X-Men where Wolverine was talking about his anger, and Xavier was like, "Well, it's a great fight. We all have that fight against our anger and our rage. Like we all have that fight against our trauma in our past. And while it's a noble fight, don't think that you're unique in that." And I was like, God dang, God, like that's impactful. Peter being poor, Peter being poor, have to take a bus or lose a job or worry about rent or what. It hurts me that they'll never let Spider-Man grow up in the movies. They'll never let him grow up again in the movies. Like we'll never be able to have the problems. That's one of the great things about the Sam Raimi things. Like when he was having to work for a job and getting evicted, like Peter's struggle made me feel like, oh, he's raised by I'm looking at my aunt right now. Like he had an awkward situation. I had an awkward situation. Who hasn't like waved at somebody they thought was waving at them? Was like, oh man.
Yeah, because that's the thing they did with Amazing Spider-Man. They made him kind of cool. And it didn't necessarily even though I feel like Andrew Garfield could have been the best Spider-Man. It's just he played a not so great Peter Parker, who was pretty much a skateboarder, cool guy, like not awkward, handsome. Again, not saying Peter Parker can't be handsome. Nah, he was handsome, bro. Like,
but he was super cool, and like Peter's not super cool.
Peter's not super
not
cool.
Then. Now Peter in the comics, now that he's a business owner and all that.
You wouldn't even. How would you bully Andrew Garfield, bro? You can't bully Andrew Garfield. Like he was a popular
one of the things,
and he was funny and confident.
Yeah.
Peter's not confident. Spider-Man's confident.
Right. And it makes sense that he's an adult more confident, but as a kid who he's still dealing with that stuff.
But what's funny is Peter wasn't even confident as an adult until after the Superior Spider-Man run.
Yes, yeah, you're right. And he was like, man, I could be doing all this.
Mm-hmm.
All right, kind of thank you, Doc.
Okay. Like Cage, Luke, it wasn't me.
So all of that to say this, because Marvel does things again within the comic book realm, within the TV show. I've seen animation from Marvel and I'm not impressed. I am not in the least beat. Like people are excited. We can be excited for the concept.
One's in the air.
But I am not. I don't think it's like to me, Cowboy Bebop. What I said on Shang-Chi watch, right? I was like, I am so nervous about this show because I respect the anime so much, and I feel like I feel like what they're going to try to do is they're going to overdo it they're going to try to do too much to match, and then it's just going to be a mess.
Bro, the set designs are great. What you're gonna notice in the first couple episodes is the action is so slow. Like you know how in the animation it's so fluid.
I've seen the trailer, and it's
and
like
he's old. He's old. Like he look when he do the close-ups, he's a 50-year-old guy playing Spike Spiegel. Like it's
who's like what 20s?
Yeah.
Why did they go that route?
I don't know.
He's famous.
And Faye is annoying. And it's not because Faye wasn't Faye was charming, annoying in the show. She's straight annoying in this. And keeps making dick jokes for some reason. And
can we see it on Friday before we talk about it? Because we know.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch it now just for the dick jokes.
See it on Friday. And so yeah, I'm not excited. I mean, I am excited, but I'm just not like looking forward to it.
Saying those, you can't go home again. You can't go home again. And I feel like you have to do a really good job not to disappoint us. And I don't think they're gonna have that commitment because they're not. I want to say they're making it for us, but they're not.
No. They're making it for Disney Plus because, to be honest with you guys, I haven't opened Disney Plus since was it Loki? No. What was the last series?
Loki was the last series, wasn't it?
Yeah, I haven't opened Disney Plus since Loki.
Bro, did you watch What If?
You're right.
Since What If, yeah.
What If. And even What If didn't need to be connected. It didn't need to be connected stories. It didn't need to be connected stories at all.
That's another Marvel level animation that started out good, And then all of a sudden they're like,
Marvel got
nah,
it.
we got to make a connected universe. So why
Marvel
not?
got it.
Boom, 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 boom,
I
boom.
know you guys saw Shang-Chi before I did. I just saw Shang-Chi Thursday, I think.
I got to screen it, and I hadn't seen it again till we saw it for our live
We
watch.
did a live
And
watch. It was
like,
amazing. I can't wait
was
for
like-
everything that people
and,
post.
and I honestly didn't. I had no desire to watch it again, but I just was like, you know what? Since we're doing a live watch, I might as well. So I
There's
watched
nothing
it,
to watch in that movie again. There is
and I
nothing to
was
watch in that movie
and I was
again.
just as disappointed. To be
And
honest.
people were like, "Oh, it's the best movie since so and so, and the action is so great in it." Really?
Here's
Like,
the thing.
So over the top.
It's not
the action
the
is
best.
so over the top.
Here's the thing. It's not the best kung fu movie by far, but as far as a Marvel kung fu movie,
No.
like I will allow.
let me ask you this. Let's break the hand-to-hand fights. Is Shang-Chi a better hand-to-hand fight than Winter Soldier?
No.
No. Is Shang-Chi a better hand-to-hand fight than give me another one. Black Widow.
No.
It's
So
on par.
this is where I went and I texted Mo first, and then I wrote it in the chat, and I was like, Mo, you were right. And I know Mo's about to post a screenshot because of the dick. But
He's like,
Why would I do that to you? Why would I mean, he said it twice in the chat now, so don't worry.
He said it twice in the chat that he was going to screenshot it. And,
No, that you.
No, you said
right.
you was going to screenshot.
No. You said I was right twice.
Because you were. Here's the thing: when I'm wrong, I'm quick to point out when I'm wrong. This is what I do. I'm a man.
I'm never wrong. By the way,
here's the thing: as a man, we have to know our flaws, and one thing that sets us free is admitting when we have flaws. Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's called growth.
Mm-hmm.
I admit it because all right. So for those who don't know, I stated in the past that Shang-Chi was a better movie than Black Widow because when I saw it in theaters, I didn't like it. Being completely transparent. But when I sat back and watched it at home on Disney Plus, I was like, "Oh, this is a good movie." I was wrong. I was completely wrong about this. Now, I probably would put it in like my top 7, top 8, somewhere around there. It's not my top 5, but it's definitely in my top 7.
I'll say this.
I think I give it 13 or 14 on Marvel.
What we said, it's one of the better solo movies.
Yeah. Now, Shang-Chi, on the other hand, which I didn't have it in my top 15 at all, but I said it was a good movie. After watching it, there's a lot of things I like with the lighting, a lot of things I like with the choreography of the fight.
She picked up an arrow for one day and was able to kill the dragon. Bro.
I didn't like that. I did not like that.
Hated that.
But
shit.
I did like how they showed the different forms of martial arts.
Did you see the deleted scene? They tried in the deleted scene of it. They try to go where she's like, "I've only been firing this arrow for one day." She's like, "You've only been practicing for one day. The guy with the sword arm was like, you're a better driver and a better shot than most people in my army." I was like, "Oh, bullshit." Sorry.
Oh, there was a delete. Yeah, I didn't want. Thank God, because I would have. If you know what, it's a reason that some scenes are deleted, because if that ever made it to the movie, I would have turned the movie off right there.
But there's a deleted scene in Black Widow, which I'm mad they took out, which explains a lot. And I don't know if y'all remember, but on three guys rant the last time, I ranted about Black Widow with what was the purpose of her staying right there to give herself up and the Quinjet and all that good stuff. They deleted a scene that explains her getting away and stuff. And it was very telling of the conversation between her and Ross, which makes me really think now they are going to go to Red Hulk storyline. And I'm like, dude, well, mind you, they mentioned early on in the movie when she's on the phone with Ross, dude, this is your second bypass, isn't it? And he's like, don't worry about my health. And like, she's asking a lot of questions related to his health. I'm like, they're going to Red Hulk story. They're definitely going to Red Hulk.
Give Green Hulk some respect, and I'll care about all the other Hulk characters.
Dude. So my theory to Red Hulk, I think, holds some water. They're definitely doing the Jessica Walker's She-Hulk series, right? Because it's coming out, and on top of that, they keep mentioning about his health, and then in the post-credit scene, where you see Mark Ruffalo just as Mark Ruffalo, not as Hulk, so he's not transformed back, and his arm is still in the sling. I'm sure it's going to come to a point where like the Avengers need a Hulk, maybe we need 2. Or something cheesy along that lines, because they're definitely setting up Thunderbolts.
This is my issue. They've been pumping Hulk out for so long, and then in Shang-Chi, Wong knocks out the Abomination pretty easily, which is one of the Hulk's main villains. So again, you just disrespect the Hulk more. I need my Hawk back. I haven't seen Hawk in so many years now. I miss the Hawk. I saw
Well,
Bruce
you're about
Banner.
to get
Bruce
you're about to get
Banner.
an X-Men. You're about to get an X-Men show in 2023. So that's
We're
you
gonna
have
X
to.
people. We're gonna get the X people show. We're gonna say
No,
X
no,
You're gonna have to
X,
start there.
X folks. Okay,
X
we have to be all inclusive. X
all
folks.
inclusive. X folks.
Hi, but yeah, that's the episode. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. Like and subscribe. Down in the comments, let us know if you agree or disagree with our thoughts on Chadwick. If you agree or disagree on the X-Men, and if Marvel should have made X-Men, or they should have just tried to figure out a way to make X-Men Evolution. Because I thought that was a pretty decent show, and it's more modern, so it would fit in what you could do with the stories today. You know,
First season
um,
was trash, but it got better.
yeah,
I didn't
it
watch
got
it after
better.
the first season.
No,
First
you
season was
got
trash.
you got to watch it when Spike becomes what's his face
Should have just been Marrow. Should have just been Marrow from the
yeah,
comics.
he
I don't
should
know why
have
they made a
definitely
Spike
come.
character. It
Nobody,
was
yeah, there was
perfectly
who the fuck
Marrow.
was Spike? He should have been Marrow.
We're gonna get some. We're gonna get Maggot. We're gonna get a bunch of characters we don't care about in this X-Men show, this X People show. The characters we love, we're taking a back seat. Gambit's gonna be like bi or reform for his ways because he
If
harassed
he's
Rose or
bi,
something like that.
I would like a bi Gambit.
Here's the thing.
Actually, a bi Gambit might work. But
No, I want the
like,
Mr. and Mrs. X storyline. Well, I would love to see them. Didn't y'all read that comic book run, Mr. and
what
Mrs.
was
X?
it?
It was when Gambit and Rogue got married. They were like undercover, but like they really loved each other. Beast created a collar that could subdue Rogue's power.
Oh
they could
yeah.
enjoy their marriage. It was a dope run. I want to see that part of this because that was a real good X-Men story, and it
You know
really,
what I
it
would like
really
to
fleshed
see?
out Gambit and Rogue.
You know what I would like to see? I would like to see them do 97 X-Men, but go into the age of have a series or a season of Age of the Apocalypse. That comic book run, I would watch the fuck out of that. If they translated the Age of Apocalypse into this and maybe Onslaught, I would watch the fuck out this show.
Yeah,
Even if it's called X People.
Do you think they'll bring
Anthony,
back?
You're still gonna watch the fuck out of this show.
Do you think they'll bring back Farouk? You know, because in the first season they had him as like a cloud or whatever.
I think a couple of the voice cast. I think a couple of the voice casts are dead. Like, I'm just interested to see how they
I'm
would
blanking.
cast
Who's Farouk?
this.
That's what's that evil cloud called? It's like the evil thing. It possessed Storm at one point, and then
Shadow King?
Shadow King.
Oh, Farouk. Yeah,
Farouk,
you're right.
and,
Yeah, the Fez.
yeah.
I'm sorry, I mean, I was trying to say, who's Farouk? Who's Farouk?
Yeah.
I was judging myself. I was like, man, my knowledge is lacking.
Yeah, but I'm wondering because they didn't really do a lot with them. It was just like one or two episodes. I'm wondering, are they going to? I would love for them to like really flesh them out, especially after you did a Legion.
Legion, that's what I'm saying. You do a Legion, you can go into Age of Apocalypse. That could be a whole season right there. But to tell it, but you gotta do the Age of Apocalypse right, and that is not a faint of heart story. That's not a everything ends well. It ends with the whole world getting nuked.
You think they'll give it a higher rating?
But it's on Marvel. No, they're not. It's on Marvel, and they're not going to do that. So let's be real. Like they couldn't even.
Oh no,
Go
sorry.
ahead.
They dropped curse words. They dropped curse words in What If though.
Savvy for a minute. Go ahead.
They drop curse words in What If.
They did, but they couldn't even stick with the story of despair for too long. They had to give him a story of hope at some point. They couldn't stick with Black Widow's world, like Black Widow being the last person in her world for too long. They had to kill that world off and go put her in. Yeah, no.
And since when can Loki get high kicked by Black Widow? Like, since when is a kick from Black Widow like knock out an Asgardian? Like, that was a weird thing. I got one other thing I want to talk about. What did y'all think about how there was no no Lucasfilm representation in the Disney Plus Day, and all of the projects now are delayed, and it looks like we're not getting any of the only thing that's coming out is of John Favreau. Huh?
We're getting a Jabba Fett, right?
Yeah,
We're getting the Boba Fett thing.
Yeah.
Anything that John Favreau's doing, we're getting. All the other stuff has been quote unquote delayed.
That makes me think that they're looking at everything that they've done and realize we got to really do better. and I'm hoping some kind of way Jon Favreau gets the role that Kevin Feige has over top of Marvel. Because mind you, he knows what he's doing. Like, say what you want, the dude knows what he's doing. He did a great job with Mandalorian. I have no beef with what he did there.
I'm looking forward to Boba
I did at first, but now I don't. And mind you, my beef that I had was very small, and it was more so because I was listening to people who weren't really fandom, but just more so outside and making complaints. I was like, "Oh, y'all don't even know what you're talking about. Hold up."
Yeah, when you step back, you're like, "That's a nitpicks. These are nitpicks."
Yeah. like this is good. Like this.
And
is
the trailer
not
for Boba Fett was good. The trailer for Boba Fett has me really excited about that show. Like, I really want to see that show now.
Yeah, I would love for Jon Favreau to take over Lucasfilms, kind of like how Kevin Feige took over the MCU.
So Patty Jenkins is saying now that there was scheduling conflicts. There's no way there were scheduling conflicts for a movie. Like, there's no way that you don't have your schedule worked out when you decide to do a Disney movie for that. And everything else is delayed too. Every show is delayed. Everything that doesn't have Jon Favreau in it is delayed indefinitely and got taken off the calendar.
That means that he's the guy who they're going to, and they trust his vision.
All right. Now you're a Kathleen Kennedy fan, right?
Yeah, I think it's COVID. I think it's COVID. I think it's COVID. I think it's COVID, and I think it's COVID, and I think it's the thing with. However, the thing with I almost called her Wonder Woman. The thing with Patty Jenkins, it just has me a little confused because there was when she was done with 84, it seemed like she had nothing else to do.
They did a whole mini movie of her getting into the X-wing and talk about her father was a fighter pilot and all that stuff.
Yeah,
how you don't have your schedule worked out?
It seemed like, but again,
But every other show too, every other show and every other movie,
we might be getting a restructure.
That's what I'm thinking.
There was the rumor that Kathleen Kennedy had 2 years left in Disney. It was a rumor that she was only going to be here 2022.
I think they silently renewed her contract because it was supposed to be up in October, and I think they silently renewed her contract, but like limited it or something like that, or gave her a graceful because she's one of the powerhouses in Hollywood. There's no way you're not gonna embarrass Kathleen Kennedy. Like,
because if you do, you risk alienating half of the fandom. Star Wars fandom.
That and also some very powerful people. So
but I do think it's something we should keep an eye on, though, because again, as you said, everything not Jon Favreau is gone.
And don't forget, not only Jon Favreau, but if I'm not mistaken, what's the brothers that did Infinity War, Endgame, and the Russos are supposed to be slated to do a Star Wars movie. And Kevin Feige slated to do a Star Wars movie as well, which kind of lends credence to the whole Favreau thought I have.
Because
they're all slated.
Who would you
they don't have anything.
Knock anybody out the slate?
Look it up. It's definitely slated. Is it?
No, it's not coming though. That's all in the KK hive. It's all in the KK hive. I think everything silver screen is Favreau right now is Favreau, and everything big screen. If it's movies, I think it's all KK. And it's something that we should keep an eye on. No, it could be the investors aren't happy with how Star Wars is going, so they have to come back to the drawing board and look at a lot of things and say,
well, merchandise isn't selling. The only thing that really sold was Mandalorian stuff. Yeah, Baby Yoda sold the oh, you're in the headphones. I know. I see kids that are trying to clean up my lip.
Oh no, my wife, pop, my daughter. We're good.
The only thing that saved the merchandise was Baby Yoda's stuff. Baby Yoda and Mandalorian stuff. That's the only thing that sold. So if you're looking at Star Wars merchandise profits and they've been tanking, and then this pops up, if I was an investor, I'd be like, what's going on? So I don't know. I know I'm biased.
What's their budget? Because mind you, with Disney, you could cut some corners with their budget. You know what I mean?
Any Star Wars budget is over $100 million.
Exactly my point. So with their budget so high,
even the shows could be over $100 million because the way I will give you one thing about the Mandalorian is it looks good. So yeah.
Oh, you're not a fan of the Mandalorian? You're not a fan of the
fan?
Mandalorian?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Take it
I'm
easy.
okay on it.
But you're not an original Star Wars fan either, right?
No, I'm a Trekkie.
I'm a Trekkie.
You can be both, yo.
I know you can be both, but I just
No, he's
I'm a
one camp or
Trekkie.
the other.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
only
both.
wearing one.
I'm really both. I grew
That's
up with
fine.
Star Trek
That's
Next
okay.
Generation.
That's
Lower
okay.
Deck season 2 is the best
Dude,
written Star
I like
Trek we've had
Stargate.
in a long time.
And ladies and gentlemen, thank you for
Oh,
watching.
because I like Stargate, I get canceled. All right.
Oh
Yes.
man, they acknowledge you. Man, I give you that Stargate, the first one. I ain't watch Atlantis.
Like Stargate was cool. Babylon 5 was
You
all
probably
right.
watch
Like,
SGU.
Babylon 5 is
Stargate
coming
Unlimited.
back. I am so
Get outta here.
excited about that.
thank
I'm
you.
so excited about Babylon 5
Thank
coming
you.
back. Mo, did you watch
Is
Babylon 5?
Sorbo gonna be on it? No, right? Are they rebooting it?
I thought yes.
What you say? Who?
Sorbo?
Say Starbucks? Babylon 5, not
Sorbo,
Battlestar
Captain
Galactica.
Sorbo.
Yeah.
Whatever his
Kevin
fucking name.
Sorbo?
What is his
In
fucking
Babylon
name?
5?
Hercules.
Is his name Sorbo?
Oh
Sorbo?
no.
You mean Anaconda? Not
tripping.
Anaconda.
I'm tripping. I'm tripping.
The
I'm
thing
tripping.
Discovery was based on.
I'm tripping, bro.
Andromeda. Andromeda. You talking about Andromeda?
Yes, that's what I was thinking about.
Now I gotta get
Andromeda.
the
No, we're talking about Babylon 5. Something was
Yeah, my bad.
probably
my
the
bad.
best
I
written sci-fi show we've had.
I just did that. Yeah, no, I think
You
Battlestar
done. You
Galactica.
done.
I
We
think
messed you up.
I think
We
Battlestar
talked about Lower
Galactica.
Decks. You were done.
Come on,
Yeah,
you like Battlestar Galactica, yeah?
I think Battlestar
I like
Galactica
Battlestar
is the
Galactica.
best.
Yo,
Is the
why
best
Why
written.
are we ranting on this?
Because there's nothing to rant about for Battlestar Galactica. Only I think you can rant on that prequel series they tried doing on Sci-Fi.
Caprica or something like
Yeah,
that.
Caprica. Yeah.
Oh man, I couldn't get through that. Was it
Yeah,
good? It sounded good.
I watched 3 episodes,
Oh,
and I was done. They canceled it with the swiftness too. But no,
They're bringing
thank you
that
very
back
much.
too. They're bringing another iteration of Battlestar Galactica back too.
I will watch every minute of it.
Starbuck for life.
For life.
Anyway,
I even watched her show on Netflix.
I watched that
Another
too.
Life. Yeah.
Yeah, wasn't bad.
What's show she have on Netflix?
So,
Another Life.
it's called Another Life?
Yeah. I just like her.
I'm gonna check it out.
I have a crush on her. It's weird.
You look up. I just like her acting. You know,
Look, find me a tree real
you
quick.
know, she in that new scene in that Riddick movie, right? I like that acting.
Get my man in the comments real quick. Faith.
Oh man, thank you guys for coming to do this show. Thank you for talking about Chadwick for over an hour. Thank you for talking about X-Men. Thank you for getting, I appreciate you guys a lot. I appreciate the listeners. Listeners. Again, like and subscribe.
Give us 5
Follow
stars.
us
The other 4 don't work.
Yeah, all of that stuff. But we will leave you to the sounds of the X-Men.
Put your ones up. Put your MF in ones.
Previously on X-Men.